Hello, beautiful people. Logan here, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about why younger people are having higher incidence of colorectal cancer. So, the big thing here is there's a lot of information wherever you get your news, whether it be Twitter, YouTube, or from the mass media campaign. There's a lot of information now about younger people getting colon cancer, and it's pretty interesting because when people are diagnosed with this, they're usually thinking, oh, anyone that's getting cancer of their rectum is going to be above 50 years old. When people get colonoscopies, they're around 50 years old. This is when a doctor goes in, puts a scope up your butt to see if you have any signs of potential cancer. Now there's people in their 20s who are getting diagnosed with a disease that didn't even really exist for young people until now, and they're shocked. And so in this video, I'm going to talk about why this is happening, and I'm also going to talk about what you can actually do to prevent this from happening. So stick around to the end of the video so you can get all the information. I'm going to share specific things that I've done to be able to be in the top 1% of healthy people in the world, especially when it comes to your gut and your digestive tract. So first things first, I think one of the biggest reasons why people are now experiencing disease at such an early stage, and I experienced chronic disease in my mid-20s. When I was 24, 25, my eczema that I had when I was a kid came back with a vengeance, and I was really shocked because I'm supposed to be healthy. What's happening? And in the United States now, we have extremely processed food. Everything, everywhere you go, is processed. You have a lot of food that's in plastic. You have a lot of food that has been through tons of different processes to get it to a shelf, and then they also have things inside of them to keep them on the shelf as long as possible. If you pick up a can of soup and it can last a year long, in my mind, I'm like, why is it lasting that long? What was put in it to make it so it doesn't decompose the way nature wants it to? So, heavily processed food, and water. We have water now that has a lot of contaminants in it, from fluoride to microplastics. If you're picking up plastic water bottle at the store, it's got microplastics in it, and when you drink that, that causes issues with your endocrine system. Microplastics are endocrine disruptors, and they are known to cause cancer. When you are drinking out of your Starbucks cup, not only is your hot bean water usually moldy and usually comes from slave labor, the cup also has cancer-causing chemicals. If you've ever seen the little sign in Starbucks that says California Proposition 65, this cup or these products can cause cancer, it's like, should I really be drinking that? But anyway, we have tons of processed foods now, especially in the form of seed oils. Seed oils such as vegetable oil, canola oil, margarine, these are high inflammatory foods. We've been lied to in terms of them actually being healthy. We've been lied to so that they could market them and really get rid of all the other stuff we were using, such as like raw milk, raw butter. Demonize essentially saturated fat and get of it and sell another product. So those processed foods, among all the other things, the Oreos, all of the packaged food that just doesn't have a lot of nutrients in it, this is causing our gut and our digestive tract, our stomach, our small intestine, our large intestine, to have to work extra hard. And essentially the other thing that's happening is people are becoming more and more overweight because they're not getting proper nutrients. So the body's very smart. If it's not getting proper nutrients, it's essentially going to tell you go out and hunt, right? And so you go out and hunt, but now we're not hunting. We're actually just going to the store and purchasing a product. So we didn't have to work hard for it. We didn't have to throw a deer over our back and carry it back 3 miles to the village and then eat. We just simply went to the store, grabbed the product, and then ate it. And the body, when it's stripped of nutrients and minerals, it's going to keep saying, oh, well, we need more, we need more. So you have a lot of people who are just eating and eating and eating, but they're not getting nutrients. If they were getting nutrient-dense food, they would be more satiated while they're eating, and they wouldn't have to eat as much. But when you eat a cookie versus when you eat a steak, there's going to be a huge difference in how your body responds to it. And after you eat a cookie, your body's going to want to keep eating the cookie. If you keep eating food like this, that's not very natural, it's going to cause inflammation in the digestive tract, and inflammation leads to dis-ease. The other thing is eating too much. So just really being gluttonous and not ever giving the body a rest to stop eating. And so what I've found is stopping eating at least 3 hours before bed makes sleep a lot better, and it also helps with digestion. So a lot of people, it's hard for them to ever stop eating. They feel like they have to eat all throughout the day. If they have any craving whatsoever, they think they're hungry, but they're not actually hungry. It's just a craving. It's like an appetite. So stopping eating 3 hours before bed is very beneficial. The other thing regarding going back to nutrients and why people are eating so much now is because the nutrients in our soil no longer exist. So what ended up happening, we've transitioned from farming where we would have one crop per season and we would transfer those crops, and sometimes on a bed of soil you would have, within 4 to 5 years, 4 to 5 different crops that grew on that soil, and it keeps the soil rich, it keeps it nutrient dense, and it keeps people very healthy. The issue now is farmers in the big commercial industries now are just trying to get as much money as possible as they can to produce as much as possible. So you got these big cornfields, and for 10, 15 years, all they're doing is growing corn, and the soil becomes stripped and it becomes depleted. And so what's ended up happening is nature always wants to restore that which is out of balance. So nature will send its warriors to battle to try and fix things. It'll send weeds to start going into the soil to bring nutrients and bugs and an ecosystem back. But what did we do as humans? We created herbicides like glyphosate and atrazine. These are sprayed on our crops and the soil in order to prevent weeds from coming, and in order to prevent certain bugs and stuff like that. And essentially what this is doing is it's killing people. It's causing cancer. If you look at the studies related to atrazine and glyphosate, they're endocrine disruptors. Atrazine is actually, researchers have done studies on frogs, and it actually changes the gender of the frog, or it makes it so it doesn't have a gender anymore. So it completely ruins the endocrine system. And companies are spraying this all over the world. They're selling it to internationally, and they're also spraying it all over our crops. So you could have a farmer who's an organic farmer across the street, and then you have a huge industrial agro business that's spraying and crop dusting all of their crops, and that's coming over and going into the air while you're driving on the road, and it's also going on to the organic foods. And so there's all these people getting cancer now, and they have no idea why. And it always starts, as Hippocrates said, like, if you want to heal thyself, start with the food. So that's a huge thing. The other thing is eating and then going to bed. You should give your digestive system a break, and you should also give yourself a window before bed so that your digestive system isn't taking over your rest. Your digestive system is essentially going to be working overtime when you lay flat, because now you're in a position working against gravity. When you're like this, you're working with gravity. Gravity's pushing the food down, but when you're laying like this, gravity is not doing anything. The food needs to go this way. And so oftentimes people will eat really late, they don't digest properly, and then they lay down and the food's flat, and it takes way longer to digest the food, and then the food gets stuck. And then now you have like fecal matter that's just sitting around, and you have a bunch of food that's kind of clogged up. And the way that our body eliminates toxins is through the digestive tract, through poo. And so when your body's backed up, you're going to have much more toxins in your body. And when you have more toxins in your body starts to shut down and not working as well. And it can't focus its efforts on destroying cancer cells. So there's more I could add to this list, but those are the big ones. Now, I'm sure you probably want to know, how can we actually fix this? And I think one of the biggest things that's moved the needle forward for me is called the Zen Cleanse. Now, I have a video on this channel called Mucoid Plaque Cleanse. If you want more information about this, definitely watch that, but I'll provide some for you here now. The Zen Cleanse is an enzymatic cleanse. And this is a cleanse that breaks down a substance called mucoid plaque. So essentially all of the things that I described above that are causing issues with digestion essentially lead to inflammation in the large intestine and the small intestine. So when you have inflammation in your digestive tract, what ends up happening is the body starts to secrete mucus in order to protect itself. And if you have enough mucus secreted over time, the small intestine, for example, has this soft lining, but it'll start secreting the mucus to protect itself. And if it's doing that long enough, it begins to build this layer. And it'll just be like almost like a layer when you put coconut oil in your sink, which you should never do, by the way. Your plumber will be mad. You put coconut oil in your sink, the coconut oil hardens, and it creates this seal, and eventually the pipes get clogged, and then you have to call your plumber, and your plumber needs to find out where the obstruction is. Well, it's the same with the digestive tract. You need to remove anything that's obstructing your digestive tract from being able to digest better and also eliminate toxins better in the form of stool. So what I found is with this cleanse, I released a massive amount of mucoid plaque in just one cleanse. And what ended up happening was my body went from 150 pounds. I could never put on weight. I was eating 4,500 calories at one point, going to the gym 5 days a week, really tired, fatigued, trying to put on muscle. And I removed the mucoid plaque. I put on 10 pounds in 2 months. And I didn't change my exercise routine. And I also didn't start eating more calories. I was actually eating way less. And so the crazy thing about this is, how does that work? Why did that happen? And it works because the body is absorbing nutrients more, and it's absorbing more vitamins and minerals, and it's absorbing the food better. So if you absorb the food better, your body composition is going to change. And what we've seen with clients that we've worked with as well is, if they're overweight and they do a mucoid plaque cleanse, they'll often not want to eat the food that was making them overweight. One client I worked with, right after her cleanse, she's like, I was going to go to In-N-Out like I usually do today, but I decided to go to a farmer's market instead and get some food to cook at home. So removing this stuff can help change your decision making, because your brain has a connection to the gut, and the gut is actually a second brain. They call it the second brain. I think in some aspects it's the most important part for brain function, because 50% of dopamine and 90% of serotonin comes from the brain. So if you want to heal your brain, or you want to have a brain that's functioning very efficiently without a lot of fatigue, without a lot of brain fog, you need to look at your gut. And so the mucoid plaque cleanse from Zen Cleanse is extremely important. If you want to do this, I'm going to post a link below. You can use my code ANTISUGARDADDY and you'll get a discount for that. And they have other cleansing products in there as well. I highly recommend the liver cleanse. I'll make a video on that. But yeah, I would start with this, because your colon is extremely important to keep healthy. And if you want to prevent dis-ease from happening, and you want to absorb food better and take care of your body, you got to get mucoid plaque out. The next thing that I would add to this, especially if you are a go-getter and you want to improve your energy levels, especially at whether you're working at home as an entrepreneur, or if you're working in a service industry in person, it's called 1 meal a day. It's also known as OMAD. And there's a lot of people that are talking about it now. I don't know too many people that have actually done it long term. But what I've found, I've tried long fasts before. I've tried intermittent fasting. I've done all different types of diets: vegetarianism, veganism, keto, carnivore. And what I found is the OMAD lifestyle is the most incredible for energy. So what I'm essentially doing right now, I eat from around 3 to 5. I have a 2-hour eating window. I eat about 2,000 calories in that time in the form of steak, some kind of cooking oil, avocado, yuca, also known as cassava, as a starch or a carb, sometimes rice, and then eggs. And if I'm ever going to have fruit or anything before, I'll have that to break the fast. If you're going to eat fruit or any kind of sugar during the OMAD, which is you only eat once, you want to have it first, because the digestive tract is going to take that. It's got a lot of sugar and it's going to break it down very quickly. But if you eat a bunch of high protein and carbs, your body's going to be more sluggish, and essentially you're going to eat the fruit or the sugar or whatever it is, and it's going to get stuck. As the body's trying to process the heavy protein, it's going to get stuck and it's going to ferment and it's going to cause more issues. So with OMAD, essentially what my friend and I have been doing every single day, we wake up at 5 a.m. And if you want to wake up at 5 a.m. and you say you can't wake up at 5 a.m., the most important thing is having a bedtime that you have discipline to. So I go to bed every night at 9. I have an alarm at 8 p.m. And at 8 p.m. I put all my screens away and I chill, I meditate, I brush my teeth, do whatever. And then 9, I'm in bed, and I'm either reading a book before that or just going straight to sleep if I'm really tired. That is the number one thing if you want to have a consistent wake up time. So I'll wake up at 5 a.m. I'll do a 1-hour meditation. I'll study some Portuguese. I will read for 30 minutes, and then my buddy and I will go to the beach, and then we'll do a workout there, usually like 100 burpees and 50 pull-ups, and then we'll go into the ocean and we'll ground on the sand. Grounding is really effective for decreasing inflammation in the body, which is just putting your bare feet on the earth's surface. And then we'll go into the ocean, which has salt water, and salt is really nutrient dense. It's really good for the body. It's also good at cleaning energies. So we'll go do that. Then we'll come back all refreshed and we'll get to work. So 1 meal a day has been an absolute game changer, and I will say I've been on a journey of trying to bulk many times, and the interesting thing I found now is trying to bulk for a skinny guy requires eating a lot of calories. And if you're eating a lot of calories, it's very hard to build a business and do videos like this in the middle of the day. If I've just eaten a meal that's like 1,000 calories, I get really tired. So what I'm doing instead, I'm letting my body take care of my digestive tract all throughout the day. I only eat within 2 hours, and then the other 22 hours, my body's working on processing the food. The really cool thing about 1 meal a day and fasting, because that's essentially what you're doing, is your body will produce the hormones you need. So like testosterone levels will go up, HGH will go up, and I've just got so much more energy, less fatigue, and I'm only shooting this video because I'm doing OMAD right now. Before, it was really hard for me to get a lot of work done. Now I can get hours of work done throughout the morning without any fatigue, and then I have something to look forward to. I'm actually grateful for my meal, and I'm not just stuffing my face all day. And I'm not going to get colon cancer because my body's going to be constantly cleaning itself. The final thing to really do if you want to prevent long-term dis-ease from happening, one is removing the processed foods that we talked about earlier, just going back to a natural diet. If you want to get, if you're overwhelmed and you don't really understand what to do for next steps, like just start going to a farmer's market on the weekend and start talking to farmers. Ask them questions, be curious, ask about the food, what's good, what's healthy, what do they eat. And that's really how you can start understanding more. You can also follow me on Twitter if you want more information, also known as X now, formerly known as Twitter. My tag as of now is Detox Jesus, so you can go there. And then the other big thing, obviously the mucoid plaque cleanse is a form of detox. If you want to go deeper, like a lot of the things that we teach is gut healing. So if you want to learn how to heal your gut, your small intestines, your large intestine, after doing the mucoid plaque cleanse, then we can definitely help with that. And we also have information regarding detox to cleanse your liver. Your liver is the organ that is most important for detoxing and for protecting the body and really making sure that it's filtering the toxins that are causing issues within the body. But nowadays there's over 80,000 man-made chemicals, and we are just getting absolutely bombarded with these, and it's killing us. So detoxing the liver is really important. Also removing parasites and heavy metals. So if you're interested in any of that, you can comment below, or you can click the link that I have below, and you can schedule a call and we can talk about where you're at and if we can help you. And I think that pretty much wraps it up. So yeah, if you want to prevent any of these issues from happening, I really think most of dis-ease starts from eating way too much food and not living in the essence of how our ancestors came up. If you think about the hunter-gatherer cultures that were in the past, that are a part of us because we wouldn't be born without those people, they would go and they would hunt, and they would go 3, 4, 5 days without food. And then research shows if you go hunting and you're really hungry, your awareness for being able to kill something goes up significantly. To be able to, your eyesight gets better to be able to find something, and that's a mechanism that is really beautiful that the body has in order to be able to survive as a human, right? And so what that really says is when you let your body starve. And I know a lot of people who are watching this are probably like, oh, I don't want to be hungry. This is crazy. This is ridiculous. But if you let your body starve, your body has processes to actually take care and kill any cancer cells. So when your body's not focused on digesting food all the time, it'll start focusing on killing things. And it actually has a process called autophagy. If you get into a state of ketosis, which happens when your body no longer has food, it'll start using... Once it runs out of using carbs for fuel, it'll switch over to using fat for fuel. And it'll start burning your fat, but it'll also start taking out cancer cells and removing it. So all of this is really important. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, please post below. I'd love to hear your thoughts, and I'd also love to hear any future topics that you'd like to hear about for me to be able to share with you. So that is all I have today. And when I made this video earlier, I shot it and it was about 25 minutes, and I realized I did not have my camera on. So hopefully this one works. Take care, guys. Late.